short. So go ahead. Dusty, would you like to lead us?
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Shawnee County Board of County Commissioners. With me today is Commissioner Aaron Mays, who represents District 3, and Commissioner Cook, who is with us today via teleconference. So Commissioner Kevin Cook represents District 2, and I'm Bill Rippon. I represent District 1.
Morning.
Good morning. What's first on our agenda here?
First item is item 2, unfinished business. Number 1, consider approval of request to award the bids and subsequent execution of the following agreements for renovation of the Forbes Golf Course Pro Shop at a project cost of $89,096 with funding from the Parks and Recreation Building Maintenance Fund deferred from the March 19th, 2020 meeting. A contract
is now in the conference.
Contract C-118-2020 with Gardner Roofing for roof and guttering, adjusted roof pitch and decking for a total not to exceed $47,890. And B, Contract C-119-2020 with Martinick and Flynn for windows, siding, and asbestos removal for a total not to exceed $41,206.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jeremy Myers, the Shawnee County Parks and Recreation. We are here to seek approval for the Forbes Golf Clubhouse repairs and installation of the windows, siding, roofing, and gutters. It's part of the Federal Lands to Parks program, which is to maintain and keep as Parks and Recreation for future generations. And all revenue generated from this park goes directly into the Building Maintenance Fund. The total project came under the projected budget and will be paid out of the Building Maintenance Fund. Both vendors were lowest and most responsive bidders on this project. Once approved and weather permitting, each contractor has told us that the project could be completed by the end of June. I'd stand for any questions you may have.
Commissioner Mays, do you have any?
I still have concerns with this right now, just the timing of it, and I'll probably be just voting no today.
Jeremy, the roof on this building, is it leaking at this time, or is it just old, and what's the condition?
It is old, and it is old, and it has spots throughout the roof that it is leaking. Not major, but there's been minor repairs to it over the course of time before my time that I've heard, but it does leak occasionally.
Mr. Cook, do you have any questions?
What's the time-sensitive nature of this project?
I think, back in July when I asked for this permission to go out for bid, you probably recall some of the pictures and maybe have been down there. It is rough. It is way long overdue for the siding and roofing repairs. Gutters are practically falling off. I think with the golf courses still being open right now, I think it's a matter of doing business with the golfers and with our public and making sure our buildings look up to standard. And this building right now does not look good at all.
And I guess the concern that I have is the same as Commissioner Mays, I sense. Is this a matter of aesthetics, or is this a matter of need? And given the uncertainty of where we're at today with the economy and the operating environment, is this one that is just purely aesthetics, or is this one of a need that if we don't do it, we're going to cause more harm and being penny wise, pound foolish?
I think it's a little bit of both. From the pictures I showed you in July, it is aesthetics, but it is some part of me thinks it's in disrepair, that we need to have this completed to get it up to speed, up to standard, I should say. And I really, it is a need for, especially the roof, being the area that, we're going to see more problems if it continues to leak, or potentially more leaks or more problems down the road. And, I think this is a viable solution to fix what is needed right now.
Jeremy, if we just fix the roof at this time, would that get us out of the woods a little bit there? If you have a good roof, that usually protects everything that's under it, and maybe that would be a kind of a compromise at this point, is just to get the roof fixed and worry about the windows and other siding issues at a different time. Would that?
I think that'd be fine, but once you change the roof and you fix the roof, everything else would look pretty rough. I don't know if you've been down there lately, but the siding is just rough. So it's your call, and I would respect any decision that you make.
I guess.
But, Chairman, this is Tim Lorette, Director of Shawnee County Parks and Recreation Department. If I can interrupt for just 1 second, I think that would be a good compromise. I am sensitive to the financial situation that we're in and that we may find ourselves in the future. So my personal opinion is I think that would be a sound way to proceed.
Commissioner Mace?
I don't doubt that the necessity for the repairs is there, but I do feel like we are in kind of an odd time right now, and in that we don't know what our finances are going to look like 6 months from now. And I realize that the commission approved this in July, but in July we had no idea where we'd be at today. So I think it would be wise of us to start thinking in terms of, it might be time for us to try and tighten our belts just a little bit. And if things end up being all right financially down the road, I think I'd be happy to approve this. But right now, I just don't feel comfortable with it.
Mr. Cook, do you have any additional comments?
No, I think that, if we can do just the roof, I would be in favor of that as the compromise.
All right. I'm going to make a motion to just approve the roof, the cost of replacing the roof on this project. I think that was for $47,890.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor say aye. Those opposed?
No.
Okay, motion carries 2-1.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jeremy. Next item.
Item 3, consent agenda.
I will make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. Those opposed? Motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item 4, new business. A, County Clerk number 1, consider all voucher payments.
Commissioners, there are 2 voucher reports today. The first is from April the 1st, totaling $499,792.87. The highlight out of that voucher report, primarily the expenditures were in the area of Department of Corrections with $166,330.43. And then the second was in the holding accounts with the state of Kansas of $141,273.94. The second voucher report is from April the 3rd of 2020. That totaled $55.89. The highlights out of that voucher report was the payroll, which was $545,870.21, and then our health insurance premiums of $139,155.37, I do not have any questions regarding either of the voucher reports and would move for approval of the both.
Second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, second by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item A2, consider correction orders.
I'll move that we approve the correction orders.
I'll second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, second by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item B, Parks and Recreation. Number 1, consider approval of a project budget of approximately $11,057.70, utilizing capital maintenance 3R funds to replace the leaking ward cabin roof in Old Prairie Town, and authorization to go out for a request for a proposal.
Good morning, Commissioners. Randy Luby, Parks and Recreation. Before you today is asking your approval to approve a project budget for Old Prairie Town. It's a roof at Old Prairie Town that really is leaking pretty bad. We have the staff currently has done a good job of putting a tarp over it, but it is causing some damage. Along with this project budget, obviously there is be a request to go out for an RFP for the project. I'll be glad to answer any questions you may have.
I have looked at this project, and this one we need to do. I think it's. I've got some real concerns about this roof. It looks like it's leaking towards the electrical box and things. And I think this one we should approve. Any other questions?
No.
I'm going to move that we approve this expenditure.
I'll second.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, second by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Item C, Solid Waste. Number 1, consider approval of request to amend a previous purchase request with Armor Equipment for one multi-pack garbage truck from $203,904 to $216,750, including trade-in, for additional required options with funding from the Solid Waste Fund.
Good morning, Commissioners. Bill Sutton, Solid Waste. Back on March 19th, the Commission approved the purchase of a one multi-pack side loader and rear loader truck for $203,904. Once we got looking closer at it, there were several required options that we actually need on this truck. A couple lift cylinders and some lights and a camera system for safety. That would have pushed the total to $216,750, which is an increase of $12,846. So we are asking to approve to amend the previous purchase request. The funding from this one will come from our solid waste fund, which is no tax dollars are used, 100% user fee funded. Subject to your questions, gentlemen.
Any questions?
No.
I'll move for approval.
I'll move for approval.
Okay, I'll second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item C2, consider approval of request to amend a previous purchase request for a 2020 Chevy Silverado from Ed Bozarth Chevrolet for $28,594 to Shawnee Mission Ford at a cost of $28,736, including trade-in with funding from the Solid Waste Fund.
Good morning, Commissioners. Bill Sutton, Solid Waste. Due to the ongoing pandemic across the country, General Motors has shut down ordering for fleet orders. So we were unable to get our order in for this. So we had to go to the second lowest bid, which is Shawnee Mission Ford, for the same like type vehicle. They are still available for purchase there. The variance will be $142, bringing the total to $28,736. 100% user fee funded, no tax dollars used. Subject to your questions, gentlemen.
Any questions? I'll move that we approve.
I'll second.
Motion Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item D, corrections. Number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C-145-2020, a 3-year preventive maintenance agreement with Samco to include testing and inspection of HVAC equipment and lower labor rates for additional maintenance when needed at an annual cost of $9,120 with funding from the detention budget.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brian Cole, Shawnee County Department of Corrections. I'm today requesting approval to enter into a preventative maintenance agreement with Samco for the planned preventative maintenance for all HVAC equipment, the heating and ventilation. We did go out and get 3 bids, and this was the lowest and most responsive bid. I also want to say over the last 4 years, we've worked diligently with Betty Greiner on replacing all of our HVAC systems in the facility, and so this is 29 separate pieces of equipment, and we want to just make sure that we stay on the preventative side and we don't have to replace these anytime soon. We do, it is up slightly from last year. The budget request from Samco, but we do have the money in the budget to go to fulfill this agreement. And I'll be happy to stand for any questions you may have.
Ryan, people from Samco and other companies that come into our jail to do maintenance on various equipment, are we taking some extra precautions with these people coming in with the?
Oh, absolutely. Anybody that comes into the anybody that comes into the facility, whether it's an inmate, law enforcement, or a visitor, everybody is tested and screened prior to before coming into this facility. Yes.
Okay. Any questions concerning this?
Not from me, no. I'll move to approve.
I'll second. Motion's been made by Commissioner May, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item D2, consider approval of request to reimburse defense attorneys for the use of remote video visitation option for communications with their clients in the Adult Detention Center.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brian Cole, Shawnee County Department of Corrections. This is something that I've been working very closely with our team here at the jail and also Betty Greiner and Jim Crowell on is part of our response to the COVID emergency is try to reduce the number of those who are coming in. Well, obviously, we do know there's a constitutional right for the inmates to have access to their attorney and their attorney being able to meet and confer with their defendant while they're in jail. While we have provided on-site visits to reduce any contact at all, between glass and stuff like that, excuse me, and we still able to do that. Everybody is able to be screened still, but we also wanted to provide what we see as a growing trend in other facilities is something that we can provide here, and that is remote video visitation between an attorney and their client. During this time, we did talk to Securus, and it is feasible for them to be able to set up, and we did talk to Betty and Jim regarding, because this is an emergency situation and we have those in jail, that we would reimburse the defense attorney or the attorney who is representing the client for their remote visit. We have set that up. We have seen good success for it so far, but we wanted to make sure that we got formal approval to reimburse. And I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
So these defense attorneys, they incur a fee for doing this, and then we reimburse them? Is that the way this works? Or?
Yes, yeah. The system will not allow us to just set up an account for them. They have to go out just like anybody else, set up their own account. When they get billed by Securus, they will turn their bill into us, and we will reimburse them. We will set up a vendor, and they will go through all the a vendor account, and they will go through being reimbursed just like anybody else.
So, Brian, you said you got this set up already. Is that correct?
Yes, this was something that because of the nature of it, we wanted to get it started immediately. And so this was just something that had just started like maybe 2 or 3 days ago. We haven't received any bills as far as I know, but this was something I wanted to, I was working closely with Jim and Betty on, but we all felt that this needed to be on the agenda to get formal approval to do this.
Well, I'm in full support of the measure, but I'm curious, have you seen any increased usage yet, or are people still wanting to come and do in-person visits with their clients?
Oh no. Yeah, we've seen it already take off. The day we announced it, we already had several attorneys that set up.
Okay.
So we have reduced those coming in. I do think there's times that somebody may have to see video or something like that. We have set up the precautionary environment for that kind of stuff. If they have to see somebody on site, we can do that. But we've already seen attorneys being very appreciative of this alternative and already jumping on board.
Good. I've moved to approve.
Second.
Okay. Motion's been made by Commissioner Mays, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0.
Thank you.
Item.
Item D3, consider approval of request to post and fill the reentry coordinator position at a salary including benefits of $56,060.27.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brian Cole, Shawnee County Department of Corrections. Due to a recent resignation, we would like to be able to post and fill this position here at the Department of Corrections. That even though we're still going through a really rough time, with the COVID-19 and stuff like that, we still have reentry services that we have to provide with accreditation and because it's the right thing to do. This is a position, it is not a new position. This is a position that's already been budgeted for, and we have the money in our budget for that. I did reach out briefly to Angela over the phone regarding this and did not see any issues with any approval on their side.
I'll move for approval.
I'll second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item D4, consider authorization and execution of contract C-146-2020 Memorandum of Understanding with Kansas Bureau of Investigation for Kansas Criminal Justice Agencies accessing KCJIS portal with no cost to Shawnee County.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brian Cole, Shawnee County Department of Corrections. This is just a renewal of a memorandum of understanding and agreement with the Kansas Bureau of Investigation to allow us to be able to access the portal to be able to, when people come into jail, that we have the agreement on board that we can check for anybody that has outstanding warrants or wanted to be on the lookout reports and things like this. There is no cost to the county, but they do have strict requirements that we go through training here and that we have identified officers or staff here that would be overriding or responsible for the system. And we have that in place, and we've always had that in place. But this is just an annual renewal, and be happy to answer any questions you may have.
This is just basically background checks.
Yes, background checks, and then for background checks, but also for an inmate that comes in, we all run every inmate that comes through this facility to make sure there isn't anything that was missed by local law enforcement for warrant for other counties and stuff like that.
Okay. Any questions? I'll move for approval. Okay. Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Cook. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carries 3-0. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Next item.
Item E, Health Department and Emergency Management. Number 1, consider approval of resolution number 2020-21, adopting COVID-19 Incident Command changes.
Good morning, Commissioners. Dusty Nichols from Shawnee County Emergency Management and Linda Oaks, Health Department. Pretty straightforward. Linda's been incident commander for the past 7 weeks, almost 8 weeks. As this thing has evolved and changed, she needs to start focusing on specifically health department things, as their staff is getting pretty overwhelmed with things. So moving her to the operations section chief so she can focus on health department operations specifically. And I've been asked to move up to the incident command role to manage not just the incident itself with COVID, but also crisis communication, shortage, resources, and so forth. I accepted that, and Aaron Mahan would step into the emergency management director role as an interim, so we can manage multiple disasters. Should we have a natural disaster, tornado, flooding, which is typical this time of year, we can manage both incidents effectively. So that's what the resolution is directly about. My role as the lead PIO for the COVID would be turned over to Molly Hadfield from the city, who does an outstanding job, and I appreciate the support that they have as well. The city, county, private industry, hospital, everybody's pitching in on this. So if approved, I reluctantly, but will accept the decontaminated and heavily disinfected baton from Linda.
Good morning, Commissioners. Linda Oaks from the Health Department. I just want to add that when you do an incident command and an ICS structure, it's oftentimes we see changes in the leadership and the different roles as the incident changes and the situation changes. So we've seen a change. This is such a large incident. It covers more than just the health department. So I will stay in the system as operations manager. I will still be the content expert in this area. And then as this incident goes back down, I will go back into the incident commander role as appropriate. So we just want to make sure that we've got the right people in the right roles. We are getting really busy at the health department with contact investigations, isolation and quarantine orders. We need to keep that work growing, and so we can hopefully eventually let people get out of their houses. That's how you manage an outbreak. So that is the reason I'm really grateful to Dusty to consider doing this and becoming the incident commander. I think it's appropriate and the right time to do this, and we will still, of course, be working closely together. So I'd be happy to answer any questions too.
I did want to also add just the command. Mayor Michelle De La Isla will stay as our liaison. She does fantastic work there, especially with the community organizations and so forth. Molly's a PIO. We have Richard Siegel from the fire department, Topeka Fire Department, as our safety officer. And of course we have Dr. Pizzino as a subject matter expert, not directly in charge in our chain of command, but definitely has a major impact.
And switching hats and everything, are we in compliance with FEMA and all their regulations?
Yeah, the county adopted National Incident Management System in 2005, and we've trained, we've used it. For example, Stampede last year, it was very effective. All the players on board, we've been teaching ICS throughout the state, specifically here. It works. We just want to be in compliance, more follow the guidelines that they've put out, and we just want to make sure we're prepared down the road with our paperwork, with all of our documentation, with all those guidelines that they put out. So if we do get an opportunity for reimbursement at any point in time, we have our ducks in a row.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Cook, do you have any questions?
I do not.
All right. I will move for approval.
I'll second.
Has left the conference.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Linda,
thank you.
Dusty, thank you. Next item.
Item F, Commission. Number 1, consider canceling the April 9th Commission meeting.
Okay, what I'd like to do today is, beyond just canceling that meeting, I'd like to take a look at the calendar and determine for the rest of the month what meetings we're going to have. I do know for a fact we're going to have a meeting on the 23rd, and but I'm looking at doing away with the meeting on the 9th. Well, while I have all the department heads online here, I was wondering if any of you had any comments or anything that was particular to your organization that you need to bring to the commission. If there's any dates that are important where we have to be here or we have to have a meeting. I'm probably looking at just having one meeting a week for the rest of the month, knowing that we're probably going to cancel the 9th, and we will be here on the 23rd. So are there any other dates that are critical to any of you?
No. Brian Cole, no.
No? Okay. All right. Commissioner Mays, do you have any?
Well, I'll just say real quick, on the dates, I don't have any problems at all. So I mean, are we looking at doing mostly Monday meetings or Thursday meetings?
I would suggest Monday meetings, I think, and then, except for the the week of the 20th, we would, not meet on that Monday, but we would meet on the 23rd. Would that be? So I guess my motion is to cancel the meeting for the 9th, the 16th, the 20th, and the 30th. Otherwise, we would be business as usual. Yes.
Before we take action, Mr. Chairman, I might ask if we consult with Ms. Beck as the clerk, if this is going to cause any issue with payment.
No, Commissioner. We have financial administrator Ben Greiner and I have already discussed this after the last cancellation of the meetings, and this is really an administrative action. And between the two of us and our staff, we have set up a process that the invoices will get paid. We'd had an issue with the running of the reports, and working with IT, you will still get the report, so you see the actual written report, but we go ahead and process the payment, so that is not an issue, and my staff doesn't have to adjust pay dates or anything like we did before, so this will work out fine. And I think I really truly appreciate the fact that we're going to do this in advance because of for the planning purposes.
Okay.
Thank you.
And I think after the end of the month, then we'll look at it again and see where we're at with this virus and go from there. But anyway, Commissioner Mays, you have any comments? Commissioner Cook?
Second.
Any comments?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Is that a motion?
I made the motion. Yeah.
I'll second that.
Okay.
All right. Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Mays. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, motion carries 3-0. Next item.
Item 5, administrative communications.
Okay.
Morning, Commissioners, Dusty Nichols. I just wanted to let you guys know that we began our overlap of recovery, especially community recovery this last weekend. We met briefly just to build the framework for building plans going forward with small businesses, recovery, all those kinds of things. So I just putting out that the process has started, and we hope to have a workable plan very shortly. I think it'll come together pretty quick. We're going to reach out to a few community leaders to get some input, brainstorm those things, make sure we're getting all the right gaps covered. So it's just information, but we are working on recovery while we're doing the response. So,
very good. Aaron?
Morning, Commissioners. Aaron Mahan, Shawnee County Emergency Management. Let me begin by saying especially with this COVID-19 thing, we focus a lot on the command and control and management of how we can manage this while it's going on and literally make it go away. We would ask specifically for everybody's cooperation in the stay-at-home order, as that will be the absolute key in getting rid of this as quickly as we can. And since we do focus a lot on the management side of it, I want to give not just as an EM, but as my personal gratitude and thanks to the literal boots on the ground, the people that are doing the hard work, the nurses, the doctors, the first responders, the support staffs in the hospital and medical facilities, the long-term care facilities, the steps that have been taken, and those long hours that those people are working as well. So I say thank you to those people that are actually helping those recover. And second of all, I'd like to reiterate what I spoke about a couple of weeks ago, that yes, we're in the midst of COVID-19. That seems to be what is totally covering the news, media, everything that we talk about and see on social media. But also, as was mentioned, please don't forget that we are beginning severe storm season. Please be prepared. Have your storm shelters ready, your shelter-in-place kits ready to go with the same thing we talk about, your essential supplies to be able to support yourself for a while in case of a disaster, whether it be a tornado, a flood, or other natural disaster that we're going to have to mitigate and deal with and respond to. If you have any questions whatsoever about the emergency preparedness side of it for severe weather or any other thing, please don't hesitate to contact us. Shawnee County Emergency Management will do our best to get you the information and can visit with you, chat with you, and hopefully keep you prepared for that, as well as the COVID-19 response. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Linda?
Good morning, Commissioners. Linda Oaks from the Health Department. I want to pull up the website first and talk about, excuse me, some changes that we have made to the website. The first is the self-report symptoms of COVID. So if you think you might have COVID-19, maybe you don't have a primary care provider, you can't get through, you can go on our website, fill out this form, it'll ask you for contact information, and a nurse will call you back or email you back, whatever your preference is, and talk to you about whether you need to be tested. So I think this is going to be a great tool for folks who would like to do this and can't get through on the phone. They can get through on the internet, and we'll get back to them as soon as we can. The other thing I wanted to show, this is the link to our dashboard, and as you can see, unfortunately, we've had another death from COVID-19. We have also 4 people that have recovered from it, and so right now we have 33 active cases that we are working with those folks and their contacts. And that's our nurses that are doing that work. So you can go to this dashboard anytime from our website and see what's happening in Shawnee County. Also, there's links to all the different information. Self-report form is on here. So it's all in one place, very convenient for folks to do that. I do want to talk about masks for just a minute because masks are big news nationally. So masks can be helpful in places where there's significant community-based transmission. We don't believe we have that now. So masks are voluntary. We ask people if they do want to wear masks that they use cloth coverings like a homemade mask or a bandana, that surgical masks or N95 respirators need to be saved for healthcare providers. We know supplies are tight, and so we want to make sure we're saving those. The cloth face mask can help you from giving it to someone else. So it's not necessarily going to protect you from getting it, but if you have it and maybe you're asymptomatic, it may help stop you from spreading it to somewhere else. However, masks can give a false sense of security. So we want to make sure people understand that they still need to maintain that 6-foot distance, the social distancing, and all the other protections, hand washing, using hand sanitizer. So again, masks are voluntary. You're welcome to wear them. I hope there's not a lot of mask shaming that people that don't want to wear them or maybe can't. I think if you have some problems like with asthma and stuff, it may be hard for you to wear a mask. So we just want to encourage people to do what they're comfortable with, but please maintain that 6-foot social distancing. That's so important, and masks are not going to prevent that from being important. And of course, as everyone has said, please stay home. Ask yourself, is this trip essential? And if it's essential, yes, but if it's not, stay home. Staying home is going to help us prevent the spread, because when people get together, that's when we see the spread of the virus. The other thing I do want to mention is that the Women, Infant, Children program is still up and running. We're doing a lot of it, well, actually all of it remotely. Most of the workers are working from home, and but we can put people on WIC. I know folks that have had drops in their income and may need this. So the number is 251-5607, and we serve infants, children up to the age of 5, and pregnant women, and breastfeeding and postpartum women. So if you aren't on WIC and you think you could use this service, we really encourage you to call 251-5607. And I'd be happy to answer any questions about the information I've given today.
Linda, I'm a little bit surprised to see only 24 people are under investigation or pending tests. Is there a reason why that number's so low?
The reason that number is so low is that sometimes we don't know about people being tested until it gets actually the results get put in the system. So I don't know with the private lab. A lot of the I think 75% of the testing now in Kansas is done through private labs, so they may not all be put in the system. We're still not doing a lot of widespread testing, and there's different issues with that. I keep hearing shortages of the swabs you need to do the test and the reagent to put the swabs in. So that's all we know about it. Doesn't mean that's all that are being tested at this point. It's just all we can see in our system through the Kansas Department of Health and Environment.
Okay. Have you heard anything more from the federal level about getting more testing kits?
I have not. I think that's just a worldwide problem, is the testing supplies.
I've also heard there's been cases of faulty tests. Do you feel like we've been pretty accurate with the ones that we've gotten here?
As far as I know, we have. I have not heard, and I've listened to a lot of like Dr. Norman speak at the state. He talks about testing quite a bit. I've not heard anyone say there's a concern about faulty tests here in Kansas. Okay.
Other questions?
Thank you.
Any other comments from department heads?
Courtney House, Director of Public Works. Just wanted to remind the public that beginning today, water line relocation work related to the Merrill Road culvert replacement project will start this morning, weather permitting. There should be no impacts to the traveling public. In 2 weeks, though, the road will be closed because work itself will begin on the culverts, and in order to replace those, obviously, we have to close the road. Just kind of to give everyone a perspective on where Morrell Road is, it comes south out of Montera and connects with Gary Ormsby Drive approximately 750 feet east of US 75, and the project is located approximately 650 feet north of Gary Ormsby Drive. So just a heads up.
Thank you, Kurt.
Morning, Commissioners. Dusty Nichols again. I failed to mention, you might have seen the KDM had the Strategic National Stockpile, or SNS, deliveries made this last weekend. We have received ours. We have it. We're inventorying it, and our resource people are reaching out to hospitals, nursing homes, so forth, to find that gap. What do they have? What do they need? And then fill that gap with those inventory items. So it's going to be a process. It's going to take a couple of days, but we will get them delivered. The quicker they get us that information, the quicker we can get it delivered. So I just wanted to make sure we were transparent. We did receive ours. We are working the process.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good morning, Commissioners. Larry Moss, Shawnee County Treasurer. I just want to let you know that we will begin mailing the second half statements today. You should start seeing those in your mailbox later this week. Taxes are still due on May the 10th unless the Kansas legislature takes some kind of action between now and then.
Thank you, Larry. Anyone else? Commissioner Cook, do you have any comments?
No updates, no comments for today.
Okay. Commissioner Mays?
Nothing from me either.
I just want to thank the people of Shawnee County and Topeka for following our guidelines and staying home. I think it's working. I don't see much traffic out there, not near like we normally have. I know a lot of businesses that have reduced their hours, and they're complying very well. I guess if there's a good side of this, I see a lot of people out walking. They're out there with their dogs and kids, and they're walking and keeping a safe distance from everybody, and it's good to see people coming out of their house and getting some exercise and fresh air. So I do appreciate that. So I would also like to thank our staff. We have a lot of staff. You know, a lot of people probably think we're shut down. We are not. Our courthouse may be closed to the public, but we still have people working in solid waste and emergency management, our health department, sheriff's department's out there every day, and these people are out there and not complaining and getting the job done. So I want to thank all them and let them know I appreciate everything that they do. They put themselves a little more risk just being out there, but it's a job that has to be done. So I'd like to thank all those people. And last, I want to make a motion to go into executive session for a period not to exceed 10 minutes to discuss one item. This is for consultation with an attorney for the public body or agency which would be deemed privileged, and the attorney-client relationship. specifically to discuss the operation of the Maynard Conference Center, not to exceed 10 minutes. No action is expected at this time. We are now in executive session, so thank you.
Brian Cole.
Has left the conference.
We are currently back in session. No action was taken at this time, so now we're adjourned. Start signing our life. Is this the only one for all three?
That's the only one, that's it, yeah, the rest of them are just shared.